Well, it's time for Wallet Wednesday. Debt collection calls jumped nearly 200% in 2025. That's according to new data from the Federal Trade Commission. More than 400,000 people filed complaints against debt collectors, including about 2,800 Oregonians. Here to help you understand your rights and protect yourself from fraudulent or harassing calls is Alderete with Money Management International. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mia. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Obviously, on an ethos level, those debt collection calls are pretty annoying to folks. But tell us the numbers about it, the data behind this. What FTC data is showing us? What is it showing us about debt collection?
Right. So what we're seeing is that debt collection calls are rapidly on the rise. So 200% higher than they were when we're looking at debt collection calls last year. And so I think this is indicating, where we are in the economy and things like that. But with that increase in debt collection calls, we also see, scams and things like that in the marketplace too. So consumers really have to be careful.
Yeah, I know the knee-jerk reaction when people get these calls from a debt collector is to block the number. But do you have any actual advice of what people should do, what they should know if they get these phone calls? What should be their first course of action?
Sure. So people always want to make sure that they're looking at their credit report. And if they're getting calls from a debt collector, the first question is this legitimate? Because if it's not, then that could be an indicator of something bigger, something on your credit report that's not right or inaccurate that you need to take steps to dispute. If it is a debt that a consumer owes, then the best course of action is just to take a look at the budget, see where you can identify money to pay off that debt, and start to have a reasonable conversation with your creditors to say, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, what kind of options do I have? So you can start there.
Yeah, great advice there. And I want to know how, on the state level, how are states cracking down, whether it be on folks that are in debt or the debt collectors themselves?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What we're seeing is that states are starting to enact more restrictive rules around debt collectors. So we see this shield law out of New York City, and really it's really aimed to protect consumers a lot more in the debt collection space. And so it's good for consumers, but it's also important for consumers to know what their rights are when we're talking about how often a debt collector can contact you, what they can say and do. They can't harass you, they can't call you at work if you ask them not to, but also know what your rights are and where to file a complaint if your rights are violated.
All right, and if folks don't know their rights, they need some extra help with this. How can Money Management International help people dealing with their debt?
So we can help people in a variety of ways. General information, most certainly. But if folks are in debt, we can help them get out of debt in a couple of different ways. We can look at a debt management plan, which helps folks reduce interest rates down to about 7%, get paid out of debt in 5 years or less. It's a fantastic option. And then for folks that are struggling with severe collection activity and they're looking for something different than bankruptcy, we also offer debt resolution plans. And so there are a bunch of different options that MMI can offer to consumers that are in debt. But I think the important thing is to just take that first step, reach out and say, hey, let's take a look at what's on this credit report and what are my options going forward.
Yeah, Tara, thank you so much for demystifying that whole process and letting our viewers know that there are options out there for them. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. You have a nice day.
You too. Learn more about protecting yourself from debt collection calls and how Money Management International can help you tackle your debt by checking out this story over on KOIN.com.